Hey everyone. So today I want to talk about the questions that you need to consider before you retire. Yes, questions to consider and answer before you retire. We don't want to wait until retirement to start answering these questions. So I'm actually going to get some of these questions from a book that I wrote over the summer. It's called 65 Questions to Ask and Answer Before You Retire. And I'm actually going to question number 10. Oh, by the way, if you want a free copy of this book, I'd be happy to give it to you. There's going to be a link down below. You can get a free PDF copy today. So, questions to consider before you retire. Number one, are your cash flow needs going to change? Likely they are. When you're working, you might have some expenses that you're not going to have to pick up when you retire. But when you retire, there might be some hobbies, there might be some extra things that you want to do that you haven't had time to be able to do yet. So you got to think about your cash flow needs and if and how they're going to change. Second question, are you going to receive a pension when you retire? And then, second part of that, if you do get a pension and you pass away first, what is your spouse going to receive? So you've got to factor in your pension income. You also have to consider, hey, what do I want to plan ahead? And I think you might, for your spouse's sake, do I want to plan ahead and make sure that my spouse gets something if I pass away first? And your pension's going to have options for that, so you need to look into it and you need to make an informed decision with your spouse before you retire. Another question to ask is early retirement the right option for you? This is going to depend on your pension, your Social Security, the assets and the investments that you've saved up, how much debt that you have, and frankly, what you want your retirement lifestyle to be. I know a lot of people who would just get so bored if they didn't have something active, something engaging their mind, and frankly, if they didn't have some kind of meaningful work that they could put their energy into. But a lot of people, you know what? They want that nice retirement lifestyle at the beach, or playing golf 3 times a week. So you got to figure out what do you want out of your retirement, and then you can ask, is early retirement right for you? Another question: if you do retire early, where are you going to get your health insurance from prior to age 65? And obviously, 65 is when most of us are going to be eligible for Medicare. So at 65 and after, you got Medicare. But before 65 and you're not working from an employer that gives you health insurance, where are you going to get your health insurance from? You've got to make a plan for that. Another question: are you contributing to an HSA? An HSA is a health savings account. It's got a lot of great tax benefits from it. And when you reach age 65, as long as you use, well, let me backtrack a little bit. When you contribute to an HSA and you can invest the money, it grows, and then at age 65, you can take money out of it tax-free so long as it's for a qualified medical expense. Now, when we get to age 65, most of us are going to have medical expenses that we need to pay for. So that means that HSA could be a great option if you have the ability and the health situation to contribute to an HSA. Something I really think you should consider. Next question: has your life insurance needs changed? Do you need life insurance in retirement? A lot of people get life insurance in their 20s and 30s to protect their family, their spouse, and their kids if, God forbid, they pass away in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and even 50s. But when you're in your 60s and 70s, you need to ask yourself, well, do I still have that need for life insurance? And then if you have a policy and you've been paying maybe a lot to it, you've got to ask yourself, I'm not recommending this, but you've got to ask yourself, you've got to ask your financial planner, do I still need that life insurance policy in retirement? Okay, moving on. This is a little more, oh, no, not that one. Let's go to, how are you planning for long-term care? You really have two main options for long-term care. You can buy an insurance policy to help cover the cost, or you can self-insure. And if you've got enough assets saved up, then you know what? You might be okay paying for all of it out of pocket. If you don't, or if you really don't want to spend a lot of money on long-term care, then an insurance policy could be a good fit for you. There's pros and cons to it. The insurance policies are expensive. I'm not going to lie. There's no way around it. They cost money. They cost a lot of money because a lot of people use them. A lot of people get to their late 70s, 80s, really late 80s and 90s, and they can't take care of themselves. Their spouse can't take care of them because they're not strong enough. They don't have the ability. They're not skilled enough in the and the health needs that people need, and you have to get outside help, and it's expensive help. So you can either pay for that out of pocket with your own assets and investments that you've saved up, or you can buy an insurance policy from it. And there's different types of insurance policies. We'll get into that in a different video, but are you planning for it? You have to plan for it. You have to have a plan of attack for it, because most people need it at some point in their life. Okay, this is a little more complicated, but do you have stock options, grants, or restricted stock units? So do you have some kind of benefit from your company relating to those investments that you need to plan for? And the reason why it's a little more complicated is because they all have different tax treatments. So I see a lot of people, frankly, trying to do it yourself on this, and they really hurt themselves tax-wise. The investments are fine. You might be too concentrated in one stock or one company. I see that a lot. But a lot of people hurt themselves because they don't realize there's different tax treatment for stock options, grants, and restricted stock units. And so they do things without considering the full tax complications that boost up their tax brackets, and they pay more in taxes than they needed to. So that's something you really do have to make a good plan for, and especially be conscious of the tax implications. Are there benefits that your employer offers that you should take advantage of prior to your retirement? So my thinking here is, if your employer has benefits and you want to retire in a year or two, then you want to take maximum advantage of the benefits that you've earned and that are part of your compensation. One company that I have some clients with, they actually offer free estate planning services. So that's a fantastic benefit. I think everyone that's approaching retirement, in retirement, they've really got to look at their estate plan seriously. So if your company offers some kind of match, or if they cover the entire cost of estate planning services, I love that. You've got to look through your entire benefits package and see what your company offers and see what you can take advantage of before you retire. So let's get as many of those free goodies that you're earning, that's part of your compensation, get as many of those as possible before you retire. This is pretty simple. If you're a business owner, do you need a succession or an exit plan? Unless you want to do your business for the rest of your life, the answer is yes. So that's not too complicated. Although an exit plan and a succession plan, I have some friends that are working through this right now. That is complicated, and you do need some help there. But yeah, you should seek out help if you don't want to do your small business or your large business for the rest of your life. Do you have a deferred compensation plan, and what are the distribution options for your plan? Okay, so a deferred compensation plan, this is in addition to your 401k. Are there benefits that your company gives you because of your status in the company and the value that you provide to the company? And if so, what are the distribution options? Some of them are limited in terms of when you can distribute that money. So you want to look through that. And again, this goes back to taxes. You don't want to make any tax mistakes when you're distributing these investments that you've earned in the deferred compensation plan. A few more questions. I think we got 5 more. Will you change your residence? So I've born and raised in California. I've seen a lot of people leave California, so this is a big topic for the clients that I work with and the people that I'm talking to. And how will that change in residence affect your cash flow, your taxes, insurance cost, etc.? So things that you could look at, obviously cost of living, housing, going from California to somewhere else, it could knock your housing cost in half. Taxes, your income tax could go lower. Your property tax, the percentage might actually stay the same, but the amount that you have to pay would be less because your home value would be a lot less. So if you're going to change residence, definitely look through all the financial implications that could bring. So not just cost of living, although that is a part of it. There's other things as well, like the insurance that I mentioned before, and sales tax is another one as well. Next question, do you expect your income to be lower? Most people, the answer is yes, but it may not be too much, especially if you and your spouse have Social Security, maybe a pension, and then if you've got a decent amount of savings and investments, your income could be pretty close to what it has been during your working years. But that's something you need to think about and talk about with your spouse, and ideally with a financial planner to make an income plan in your retirement. Next question, what will your sources of income in retirement be? So This is a great question. I'd really encourage you to list all of these out. So Social Security, pension, distributions from your investments, rental property, any kind of royalties that you might have, any part-time work that you might have, any businesses that you might want to continue, even if it's part-time, 15, 20 hours a week. So just list out all of the sources of income that you can realistically expect in retirement. Will you be contributing to charities now or in the future, or both? You can. There's a lot of different charitable tax strategies that you can take advantage of. That'll be another video that I'll make. But then also you can gift money at the end of your lives. Personally, I love seeing the fruits of my labor invested in the charities that I care about. So if you're charitably inclined, I'd encourage you to think about doing it now, even if it's just a little bit every year. And then, as you get closer to the end of your life, then, you can also give away more then as well. And then second to last question I have for this video today, do you need to review or update your beneficiaries? Are you still friends with everyone that's listed on your beneficiaries? Did anyone pass away? I can't think of anything too much more important in terms of estate planning than updating your beneficiaries and just checking them annually. That's what I recommend with my clients, and that's what I do for myself. Hopefully nothing has changed. Hopefully you're still friends with everyone. Hopefully everyone's still alive. But we just got to make sure. We've got to make sure that maybe you've opened any kind of new accounts. We want to make sure that you list the same beneficiaries for everyone there. And if they're different beneficiaries, that might be fine. But we got to make sure that there's a reason why. Why is your beneficiary account, why are the beneficiaries on your account at Fidelity different than what they are at TD Ameritrade? There might be a good reason why. If so, though, we have to have that good reason in mind, and we don't want to be lazy with this, so I recommend everyone look at this every year. And then my last question I have for you, do you have a comprehensive financial plan going into retirement? Full disclosure, I am a certified financial planner, so yes, I am biased on this question, but I just think whether you want help, whether you want a lot of help going into retirement, or if you're more of a do-it-yourselfer and you'd rather do this on your own, I can't stress enough how important it is to have a good financial plan, a comprehensive plan that covers every aspect of your financial life going into retirement, just to make sure that you have everything covered. So those are the questions that I think you should start out with asking before you retire. Again, if you want a free copy of my book, go ahead and download it. It's going to be in the link below. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And if this has been of any value to you, please like and subscribe. It'll really mean a lot to me. All right, have a great day.